Hi, everyone. My name is Teresa Howlett. I'm one of our admission counselors here at Gonzaga, and I'm also our honors program admission coordinator. I'm joined by our honors program faculty director and associate director tonight, as well as several of our current honors students who were able to join us and two of my colleagues in the Office of Admission. We're so glad you're here and joining us. We're going to do a more formal welcome and introduction in a little bit, but as people continue to check in, we'd love to get to know you a little bit. I think you should be able to type in the chat and send messages out to the group. So go ahead and start typing in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from tonight. And again, we're really excited that you're here with us. California, Washington, Shoreline. I'm not too far from you right now.
Portland,
Oregon,
Hawaii,
Denver. I see St. Louis. That's awesome. Colorado, Columbia, which is exciting.
Kansas
Bogota.
City,
San Francisco, all the way from Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us. It's late there, I
Texas,
know.
College Station, Texas,
Kansas City, Idaho. That's awesome. We're so glad you're here. Someone else from Denver. That's great.
hey, Ridgefield, that's where my parents live.
Boston, Massachusetts. My brother lives there. That's great. All right. Someone else, California, Bay Area, Washington, Seattle. Love it. All right. Well, with that, we are going to jump in and get into the content of our webinar tonight. Again, good evening. We're so glad you're here at our honors program webinar. Thank you so much for joining us from all over the world. Again, my name is Teresa. I am our senior international admission counselor here at Gonzaga. So I work with all of our international students, students outside the US, and then I have a small domestic territory in Sacramento. And then I'm going to be your host, one of your hosts for this webinar. You might have noticed that you're not able to turn on your cameras or your audio. This is so that we can record this presentation for those who aren't able to attend. We would love to answer your questions though, so throughout the presentation, please type them into the Q&A and we'll have colleagues either answer them or bring them to our attention so that we can answer them out loud at the end of the presentation for the benefit of the whole group. We will get through as many questions as we're able to tonight, and we're also happy to respond to questions if you reach out to us after the event. Now we have several colleagues I'd like you to meet. We'll start with our honors faculty and then introduce our student panel, followed by my admission colleagues who are with us tonight. Linda, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Of course, I'm Dr. Linda Trudenik. Most students call me Dr. T, although Linda is also fine. I have my PhD in Renaissance literature from the University of Oregon, and I've been a Gonzaga faculty member since 2003, and I've been director of honors for the last 8 years.
Awesome, thank you. Hayes, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Great to see everyone in the chat. My name's Hayes. I am a professor of mathematics, and I'm the associate director of the honors program. I'm originally from Argentina, so really cool to see everyone coming in from all these different places, and looking forward to meeting some of you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have our students introduce themselves. Naomi, would you like to go first?
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm a junior here at Gonzaga, and I'm studying civil engineering and Spanish with a minor in finance.
Great. Alex, you're next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm also a junior. I'm a theater arts major, and I'm also getting my teacher's certification.
Great. Next, we'll do Elise and then Emily and Kira.
Hi, I'm Elise. I'm a sophomore and I'm a music major with a with a concentration in jazz and a business major with a concentration in economics.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm a business administration major concentrating in marketing, and then I have minors in French, as well as the Hooken Entrepreneurial Leadership Program.
And hi, my name's Kira. I'm a senior from Seattle, Washington. I have majors in communication studies and women, gender, and sexuality studies with minors in English history and sociology.
Thank you, all of you. And finally, Carrie Weeks and Will Shoup are also here to help answer questions and guide us through the Q&A. Will and Carrie, will you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, everyone. I'm Will Shoup. I'm an admission counselor in our Office of Admission. I work mostly with students from Montana, Alaska, Idaho, and many of our Great Plains states. So welcome. We're so glad you are all able to come out tonight.
And hi, my name is Carrie Weeks. I'm Associate Director of Admission here at Gonzaga. I use she, her pronouns. I cover the local Spokane area as well as Minnesota and many southern states too. And I'm happy to be in the Q&A with you and answering some questions there. So thanks so much for being here.
Again, thank you everyone so much, and welcome to all of you who are out there joining us. To give you a sense of what's to come tonight, we have a brief slide deck that I will share my screen for. It's already sharing, so we'll just kind of go through that together. We're going to cover information about what the honors program is and benefits of joining the program, as well as some key points to keep in mind regarding the application process. You're also going to have a chance to hear from our lovely current students who are here with us. And as we go through the slides, we encourage you to use the Q&A for questions.
So I think this is my part, if you're ready for me to take over, Teresa. So the honors program at Gonzaga is a exciting intellectual group of scholars and students, faculty, who have come together to explore Gonzaga's mission and to engage in some really transformative education. So obviously at the start of our program, we really want to focus on academic excellence. We have a catalog of courses that are all very high impact. They're student-centered. They're involve experiential projects, a lot of student presentations. I like to say that honors classes basically never have a PowerPoint. It's not a recite back on the test kind of program, but instead we have classes where the students are in the forefront of finding information and bringing it back to the class. We have a number of team taught classes in our curriculum that are dealing with urgent, complex, contemporary issues, the kind of issues that can really only be solved when we have smart people coming together to collaborate and try to find just and practical solutions. Like all of Gonzaga, we have an active commitment to social justice. Many of our classes start with a social justice component. We also have a number of classes that are feature global awareness and engagement. We strongly support students being able to study abroad and actively look for ways to make the study abroad experience work in collaboration with honors. And throughout our curriculum, we really focus on the power that comes from working together. So one of the things I really love about working with the honors program is I get to work with students from across Gonzaga. So not just English majors, but instead I get to see what happens when we put English majors together with business majors, with econ majors, with civil engineers, with philosophers, with sociologists, and see the kind of conversations that come from that and the kind of really exciting work that comes from that. So we believe strongly in the power of community and the power of discourse to solve these really complex issues that are facing our world right now. In addition to that, I think I'm ready for the next slide. So I'm going to talk through what the honors program academic experience looks like. To begin with, even before classes start, you'll join your other honors cohorts, the other first year honor students, in a 3-day immersion experience that takes you around campus and around Spokane. You'll get to meet upper class honors students. Kira would love to talk about this. She has been a student leader in our immersion experience for the last 3 years and is excellent at it. This is a chance to get to meet your community, to get to know each other, and also a chance to get to talk with faculty, get to know the professors you'll be working with throughout the year in a more formal and casual setting. Because we're pretty cool, interesting people, I think, when you get to know us. The first semester that you're here at Gonzaga, you'll have what we call your honors first year experience. So this is a group of classes that you'll take with other honors first year students and with faculty who have been selected for being really good at working with high achieving students who are really invested in their education. This will give you a chance to satisfy a number of the honors core requirements. They'll give you a little bit more flexibility in your schedule as you keep going to find other honors classes. Throughout your time at Gonzaga, we'll take 5 classes that we call honors designated. These are not classes where you're going to be treated differently from other students. They are classes that we have identified throughout campus that we think really fits that honors ethos of student-centered, featuring some sort of student-generated information. Students lead in the teaching of the class. We like to think of the honors designated courses as shared journeys with students and faculty. So you'll take up to 5 of these, and these are courses that almost always also overlap with other requirements you have. So we have honors courses throughout the university core and also throughout majors, so that these are not courses that are going to add to your overall course load, but really give you that enhanced, exciting experience that these courses can offer. We do have 2 courses that we call the honors colloquia that we require you to take. These are almost always team taught courses. They're interdisciplinary and they're on those urgent, complex, contemporary issues. So we have classes right now on climate change, on wealth inequality, on race in America, on philosophy of technology. As you can see, these are really rich, compelling topics, and these are classes set up to encourage conversation across people, with people across different disciplines with really different perspectives. And then our final experience in honors is what we call our honors capstone. Like most honors program, we ask students to do a final research sort of comprehensive project. This is our honors senior project. And these are not just traditional academic papers. They can be if that's what makes sense for you, but what we're really looking for is that you find a project that speaks to your passion, that really helps you think about what the next step is going to be in your life and be helpful with that. So we've had projects that range from podcasts. We have a really cool project this year that is a radio show that's a series of interviews with immigrants in Spokane, talking about the immigrant experience in Spokane in 2025. We've had business students put together e-tail commerce sites to market their own business. We've had a number of students do advocacy or activist projects. We have students who do work creating lesson plans in the local school district. So these are a wide variety of projects in order to help students find what they want to do. Because as we all know, when you throw the doors open that wide, it's really hard to settle down on what you actually want to do. We also ask students to take our Honors Core Integration Seminar. This is a class you would be taking as a Gonzaga student, but the honors specific version is really focused on helping you imagine and develop and plan that honors capstone experience with an eye towards how can you use this for an interview process? How can you use this if you want to go into graduate school? How can you use these projects to find that network that will help you find the job that you'd like? So I think we have a slide with some examples of what some of those capstone experiences have been in the past, just to give you an idea of the range of topics that students have picked up in the past. Because honors courses and the honors capstone really encourages students to find their own voice and their own agency and recognize how to be compelling in the world. These are classes that focus on those core qualities of critical thinking, communication, discernment. I like to say that honors doesn't necessarily help you get your first job. That's the role of your major. Honors helps you get your first promotion. But we're not just an academic program. I think the real sort of secret sauce of honors is that we're a community. So we do a lot of activities together that allow you to get to know other honor students and faculty. And these are both sometimes just really fun activities that are just purely social. And sometimes they're activities that have both a social and an intellectual component. So, for example, our fall retreat, we've taken to calling it Honors Lake Day. In the past, we have rented out a summer camp on the shores of Lake Coeur d'Alene, and we just get to spend the day hanging out together. So there's a lot of swimming, there's a lot of basketball games, making s'mores around the campfire, Christmas party. We also have some events that are much more sort of in that honors vein of smart people getting together to talk about issues. So one of my absolute favorite honors events we do once a semester is the 60-second lectures. In the 60-second lecture, a number of faculty from across campus are invited to give a 60-second talk on the topic of a single word and how that word impacts or shows up in their discipline. So we're doing this actually on Monday, and I think the word this time is pulse, P-U-L-S-E. So that can be everything from biology to medicine to music to electronics to food. Hayes reminded me the other day that pulse is also a word for legumes. And then after we go through these, say, 60-second lectures, the rest of the evening is the faculty who gave the lectures talking with students, asking questions, talking about their discipline, having students respond to what they said. And it's just a really fun social event. Of course, it wouldn't be honors if it wasn't student-led, so we have a really strong student council. In fact, Emily is one of our student council presidents this year and doing an extremely good job. The student council organizes events, again, everything from a trivia night to an open mic night to the Christmas party. Every year they are the ones who take the lead on hosting an honors formal dance, an honors prom. That's a lot of fun. So we have a number of student council events. And we also have a really robust, we call it the Big Little Mentoring Program. So every incoming first year student is paired with an upper class honors student who can just be there to help answer questions about honors, about Gonzaga, about dorm life, about registration and scheduling. And the last thing I would like to mention is that all first year honors students have the option to live in the Honors Living Learning Community, which is a dorm. Actually, we're in Coughlin Hall right now, which is one of the newer design dorms on campus. And it's just an opportunity, again, for students to know each other, really get to bond with other honors students, know that they're going to be with students who share their interest in Gonzaga, but also have fun, have great conversations. One of my favorite things is, as I said, just getting to hear the kind of magic that happens when smart students from across the university start talking to each other. I'm also really excited that for the first time in quite a while, we're going to have some academic space on campus starting in the spring. So that will be another place where honor students will have access to a lounge, a small kitchen, some extra study space, and have a chance for that community to get together. a couple of sort of benefits of the honors program. As I said, honors designated classes we think are some of the most exciting, transformative classes on campus. Honor students have reserved seats in those classes. Honor students can take up to 24 credits every semester without being charged an excess credit fee. Now, I want to be really clear. Honors doesn't make you take more classes than regular students. It's a program that works with majors and with your core requirements so that you're not having to take extra credit. But man, if you want to put in, as you heard Kira has done, 2 majors and 3 minors, being able to go over 18 credits when you choose to can sort of round the edges out a little bit. I think another great way that honor students often use that excess credit fee waiver is to find a little space to do something that makes them feel like fully rounded humans. So we have honor students who take guitar lessons with that extra credit. A lot of students take something like bowling or yoga that just keeps them healthy and grounded. So that's a really nice extra perk. Um, you will have access to all of the honors collaboration spaces, both in the honors living learning community and also in that honors professional space. You have access as an advising or as an honor student to the directors for additional advising support, and we also have a dedicated honors advisor who will work with all the first year students to help you develop a 4-year plan. Think about what happens if you add a major, if you want to switch majors, if you want to study abroad. And of course, there is an $1,800 a year scholarship, which helps. What do you think, Hayes? Did I leave anything out?
No, I mean, unsurprisingly, you did a pretty good job. I'm enjoying seeing all these questions showing up in the Q&A, and I think that they're really good questions too.
Great. Yeah, we'll get to those questions in a moment, I'm sure. So we have some statistics up here from the 2025 honors cohort.
Do you want Do you want me to
Sorry.
jump in? Do you want to
Yeah,
keep
that would
going
be
or do you want me to
fantastic.
jump in? Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. Thank you so much for sharing all that great information. And thank you for sending in your questions through the Q&A as well. From the admission side, we'd like to take a moment to just talk about what the admission process, what the application process for the honors program looks like. We, as far as the honors cohort goes, we typically aim for between 80 to 85 students per year enrolling in the program. This past year, we had almost 500 applications that were submitted for honors, and we ended up with 95 enrolled students from 16 different states, as well as Spain. Students all the way from Alaska to Virginia and Texas up to Minnesota. We aim to bring together a very diverse group of students from across not only geographic regions, but also academic interests. There are about 25 majors and programs represented among these 95 students. You can see some of them listed here. Keep in mind, though, that these are just preliminary programs that students identified, and it doesn't lock them into what they'll graduate as. It's actually quite common for students to come in and kind of, as they start exploring through the core, as they start exploring through the honors curriculum, to just kind of modify and change the direction they want to go. But for this year's enrolled class, we had many students interested in engineering, business, sciences like neuroscience, biology, biochemistry, humanities, and the health sciences. We do have students who are in the nursing program, and we get questions about this a fair bit. Students who are interested in nursing and having that direct admit nursing program be accessible to them, but who also want to have a deeply rooted experience in a humanities-based core curriculum that the honors program can provide. So honors is definitely an opportunity these students can leverage. The average unweighted GPA for students in this cohort was a 3.92. We really want to emphasize that we're not looking to just admit 4.0 students. We're much more interested in trying to identify students who have deep intellectual curiosity, who've demonstrated resilience, deep creativity, and who want to be engaging with the world in novel and unique ways. Many times those can overlap with tremendous academic success, but they're not perfectly equivalent. As we talk in the next slide about what we look for in the honors application, keep that in mind, that academic excellence is expected, but it's not sufficient to gain admission to the program. You can see our average SAT and ACT scores here. Last year, about half of honors applicants submitted a test score. We are test optional as a program, so if you applied to the university with a test score, we're going to look at that test score. And if you apply to the university without a score and you apply to the honors program, you'll be considered for the honors program without a test score too, and you won't be at any disadvantage to gain admission to the program. We're close to the university's overall 35% of the incoming class identifying as Black, Indigenous, and people of color. This past year, about 30% of enrolled honors students identified as BIPOC. We want to create a space where all perspectives are not only present, but are elevated, where we have opportunities to engage in deep, intentional, and sometimes intense conversations where we're listening and where we're all trying to broaden our horizons. And doing that within the context of a predominantly white institution with a commitment to social justice means creating space. So that's also an important piece to consider about the program. And with that, I want to briefly turn it over to our student panelists to share a little bit, maybe 1 to 2 minutes each, about one, how you decided to apply to the honors program, and two, maybe one thing that you wish you were familiar with when you were entering, and that you think would be helpful for students on this call to hear. There's going to be more opportunity for you to share your experiences later in the Q&A, so we'll try to keep it to a minute or two each, and then we'll take it from there. So can we go ahead and start with Alex this time?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons I decided to join the honors program was to be part of that living, learning community. When coming in, you're with people that are also in the honors program, and you just create such a bond with these people. And it was just a really good experience for me my freshman year. And then it's also great that you can take more than 18 credits, especially if you're double majoring or if you have multiple minors. So that's a really great thing about the honors program. And then, sorry, what was the second question?
That's okay. Maybe one thing that you wish you had known before entering.
Yeah. I would say just looking into how to fit the honors requirements with your major. I would say with depending on what major you are, it can be easier, and with some it can be a little more difficult. I know from my experience with being theater and education, it has been more on the tough side. However, honors is willing to work with you with that and willing to help you get the requirements you need. But I think it's good to come in with a plan or having someone to talk to and be like, how can I make this fit so that I can continue with honors?
Great, thank you. Kira, if you could go next, and then we'll have Naomi follow.
I would love to. Well, to be honest, I applied to honors because my mom told me I should. And that was a great opportunity. The more I looked into it, the more I realized that this was something that I wanted to be a part of. I love the commitment to social justice. I love that we're combining different disciplines. Something I wish I guess I had known is that it's not meant to be harder. It's actually, I feel like we have a lot more fun in my honors classes because we're having those really big conversations, and there's a lot of personality, and we're talking and everyone wants to be there, and that's something that I really crave in a classroom versus everyone just sitting there and not wanting to speak. So I think it's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it.
Kind of similar to other people. I came to Gonzaga from out of state and I didn't know anybody when I was coming here. And so I thought the honors program would be a really good way to get to know people and kind of belong to a smaller community. And even though I didn't live in the honors dorm my freshman year, I felt like I was really connected with the people I was taking classes with. And because you're in a bunch of classes together, you do get to know people really well, and it's a really good time. And something I guess I wish I had known is I kind of came into the honors program thinking that with my major, it would be hard to do honors and complete everything. But in my experience, it's actually been the exact opposite. And I've actually been able to add several things. And it's a really flexible program as long as you're willing to put in like your half of it.
Um, I really was interested in honors because of the interdisciplinary aspects of it and sort of all of the ways you're living with people of with different majors from all sorts of different backgrounds. And a lot of the classes you'll be in will combine different just ways of looking at a subject. My communications class, my honors communication, was very much like different majors, English, communications, history, sort of the whole deal. And something I wish I was familiar with when entering is just how willing honors is to work with you. Like if you have something you need help with or a plan you need to have some changes to, even if it's a little bit late, they're willing to help you and make the best of whatever situation you have.
Yeah, so my experience with honors actually started way before I entered Gonzaga. My sister actually went to the same school and she was in the honors program, so that's how I was first introduced to it. And also, my mom also recommended that I apply to it. But just talking to my sister, she appreciated the variety of classes that she was able to take. And it felt like she was able to also have another like aspect to community. And that was something really important to me because I really wanted to like come to a school where I could find people who liked academics and liked learning. And I also wanted something that would like help supplement the all of the other classes that I'm already taking. And so it's worked out. Like some of my favorite classes have been honors designated. So I've been like very happy with it. And for the reason that I chose to go into the honors program, I feel like I've been receiving it. And then something I wish I was familiar with when I entered was just exactly how all of my classes would align with the honors requirements. So I'm figuring that out right now, like doing registration and making my 4-year plan. But I would have appreciated having a better idea of how like my classes for my marketing concentration and my minors would have correlated with all of the honors designation stuff.
Right. Thank you so much to all of you for sharing. I know that's really helpful information for our audience out there. And we're all very grateful that you're here. I'm sure there's going to be lots more questions to answer later. And again, guests who are here tonight, we've seen, like Hayes mentioned, we've seen a lot of questions come into the Q&A, and that's awesome. Please feel free to keep, please keep putting questions in the Q&A and we can address them later. And with that, I'm going to wrap up my section here in just a couple minutes talking about what the application process looks like. And then we'll shift over to have Will and Carrie guide us through the Q&A. So a couple of key things to understand. At this point, the honors application is open. It opened on October 1st, and January 10th is the application deadline. You can apply for the honors program regardless of whether you apply early action or regular decision. If you miss the early action window, you can still apply for the February 1st regular decision deadline and the honors program and be fully considered. You're just going to need to make sure that your honors application is submitted by the January 10th honors deadline. Like I said, that application is available on our website right now. It includes a list of activities and asks you to describe your involvement a little more in depth, maybe than what you included on your Common Application. Yes, we can see what you've listed on the Common App as well, but the more we're able to hear in your voice about the things you've been involved in and the things that you feel have shaped you in high school, that's really valuable for us to see when we're reviewing those applications. The core of the honors application is the honors portfolio. This is intended to be a fairly vague prompt to encourage you to showcase your creativity and the way you understand the world and are seeking to engage with the honors program during your time at Gonzaga. The electronic portfolio can take a wide range of forms. It can be a video, a PowerPoint, an audio recording. We had one student a couple years ago submit a speech and debate style 5-minute radio communication prompt. We've had students create an online magazine or newspaper spreads about themselves. It's a little bit less about describing all the things you've done and a little bit more of you explaining what that means for you. What have you taken away from those experiences? How have you demonstrated your intellectual curiosity? What has sparked this passion you have for this particular area of interest in your life? And how can we understand what your unique perspective is that you would bring to the table and contribute to the honors community? The other thing I'll mention is that it really benefits you to create a specific portfolio for the honors program. Recycling something you've created for something else is not sufficient. It can be used to supplement your portfolio, though. We've had students submit their IB extended research papers, students who feel strongly about something they've produced for a class. And that's okay, but we want it to be coupled with a Gonzaga honors specific portfolio component. So keep that in mind. We have a couple examples up on the web, and if you have questions about them or about the process, please reach out to me. Like we were talking about earlier, GPA is important. You can see a range on this slide, but those honors portfolios are really what we emphasize. And the final thing I'll mention is about timeline for hearing back from us. We will be reviewing honors applications throughout January and February, and we anticipate sending honors decisions by early March. When decisions are released, they're going to include information for students who've been admitted to honors, waitlisted, and those who haven't been admitted to the program. All right, we've covered a good bit of ground here. There's a QR code on the screen. We'd love for you to come visit campus. It's our URL for visiting campus is gonzaga.edu/visit. And then with that, I want to turn it over to Carrie and Will to guide us through the Q&A so that we can answer your questions and address anything that comes up. And for all of our hosts and panelists on the call, I suspect that these questions are going to be I think we'll all be able to jump in and kind of answer the questions depending on what's been asked.
All right, thank you so much, Teresa. Yeah, we have quite a few questions in the Q&A, and if you put some in the chat, please move those over to the Q&A as well so that we can actually keep track of them. That would be wonderful. Let's start with a question since you just went over the application process itself. There's a question about if you haven't received test scores, is it better to apply for honors now or to wait and see the results?
So I think what I would recommend is that if you are, I would encourage you to at least begin applying, at least kind of start thinking about how you want to put your portfolio together for honors. And then in terms of test scores, I think that it kind of depends on whether or not you're going to want to use those test scores for admission. So we do have some flexibility if you've submitted your application and you've told us that you want to use test scores, but you later decide not to use them. As long as we haven't read your application, you can just send us an email and let us know that you don't want us to consider those test scores. But so I think it depends, kind of depends on whether or not you think you might want to use those scores for admission. But like I said before, you're not going to have a disadvantage in terms of admission to the honors program if you decide to not use test scores.
So it looks like our next one is a little bit just like curious about the social justice piece. So how do you define social justice and what are the values and goals? And there's curiosity here about is it nonpartisan or politically partisan? Yeah, what does the social justice piece look like?
I'd love to take a stab at starting with that. I would say that when we say social justice at Gonzaga, we're referring specifically to our Jesuit identity, as a Catholic Jesuit humanist university. And if you look at the Gonzaga mission statement, a really important part of it is that we stand in solidarity with the poor and the vulnerable. So when we talk about having a social justice component, that's what we are talking about specifically, that we are looking at ways that the world may not be completely fair. Some of the historical contexts and structures that lead to that, and trying to understand those. I think if we don't understand that context and that history, then we can't go out into the world and be engaged in making the world better. But there's always, at least the intention is always that this isn't a partisan. This isn't about telling you what you should think. This is about helping you explore your own sense of values, your own sense of justice, your own sense of what you think the world should be, and give you different attitudes to engage and sort of pathways to engage with the world. So it's absolutely not partisan, but it is about empowering people to go out and be the kind of leaders they'd like to be in the world. And I would love to hear if that has been the experience of students in the program.
Yes. I was
Thanks,
waiting
Kara.
to see if someone else would answer. I mean, in the 4 years that I've been here, everything in honors has been focused and rooted back in the Gonzaga mission, which I think is one of the most important things to emphasize here is as Jesuits, at a humanistic institution, our goal is to care for the poor and vulnerable. It's to consider perspectives, it's to ask the really hard questions, and that's all part of social justice. I feel like that is extra emphasized in the honors program because honors faculty are picked by the program, they're vetted by students. We're thinking about all of those things as we're picking what classes we think should have an honors designation. So they're very intentional, very social justice focused, and it's really about asking the bigger questions.
Thanks, Kara.
Excellent, thank you. Let's talk about a little bit more about the application process itself. Can you talk a little bit about what things help an honors application stand out with the application and with the portfolio?
So, what I always look for when I'm looking at a portfolio or an application is, as Teresa was saying, that real sense of who is this person and what is it that they are passionate about? What is it that they care about? Because it's that passion, it's that engagement, it's that resilience and that experience that means that this is going to be a really exciting person to have as part of our community. It makes me really excited to meet them and work with them. So, we recognize and we have tried to establish a admissions process that really values that there are a lot of different ways to be a smart, engaged, ambitious person in the world and to demonstrate that. So some people do that through just great academics, high test scores, amazing GPA, tons of really, AP dual start classes. And that's fantastic. That is a beautiful pathway to demonstrate your commitment to your education. But that's not the only way. We also really value students who have thrown themselves into a particular project. Students who have really excelled at art or sports or robotics or debate, and that sort of singular focus has really helped shape their understanding of commitment, their understanding of hard work, and we really value those students as well. The reason why we are test optional, even before it became sort of a practicality, is that we recognize that some people are great at taking tests and other people, that's not a great way to demonstrate just how smart you are and what you bring to the program. So we've tried to create a very flexible pathway that says there's a lot of ways to show that you are right for the honors program and committed to it, whether that's listing a whole lot of activities that you've done or just one that you've really poured your heart and soul into.
And if I can just double down on that, I just want to say don't be afraid to take a risk, especially with your portfolios and also just like with letting us know who you are. Like we want those creative ones. Like the more creative, the bigger the risk you take. Like that's good. We want to know who you really are, how you stand out.
So it looks like our next question here is, would it be possible, or how does it function, to do the honors program while doing a 3+3 JD program?
So we don't have at this point, a specific relationship with the 3+3 JD program. We have a lot of students who do a pre-law process and a lot of students who graduate early. So we have a lot of flexibility built into the program that would allow that to happen. And I think what I would point to for a 3+3 JD program is our advising, that we've been able in the last couple of years to add in a professional advisor who works with all the honors first year students and really helps them figure out, okay, what is my plan? Am I here for 4 years? Am I here for 3 years? How do I fit everything in? Develop that progression system, see exactly how honors does work with different majors so that we can avoid those pinch points. Alex, my heart, I went out, it went out a little bit when you were talking about how hard it is to do honors and education. I really think we're doing a much better job of supporting students to find those pathways early on, so that it isn't as tough. Even for the really high credit, high scaffolded programs like education. So I think honors would work really beautifully with a 3+3 JD program. We certainly have worked very hard to make sure that we work with other programs where students are only on campus for 3 years. So the nursing program, nurses are off with their clinicals their final year. So we've found ways to make that work with honors, similarly with education and student teaching. So that's where really taking advantage of that extra advising can be a real benefit for students.
Excellent. For the next question, I think some students can help us answer this one. It's about the honors classes, and if you're able to choose which ones that you take, or are you randomly assigned a class? So can anybody share their experiences on that?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take this one. So, with the exception of like your honor CIS class, you're able to choose pretty much all of the classes that you want within honors. A lot of the classes that we have the honors designation, which means that you can take like a literature class and it can be honors designated if it fits the requirements. For example, I took like my philosophy of human nature class, which is one of my favorites, and I got to choose that class and I got to have it be honors designated. And then also in my religion class, it's a part of the core curriculum that we take a world religion class as well as a Christianity and Catholic class. And so there was a variety of classes, but I chose one that was honors designated. And so even within the colloquia too, there's normally a lot of different options that range from, as mentioned, inequality and wealth, also to like there was one recently about technology that was really interesting that one of my friends took, as well as colloquia that focuses on the environment and politics. So to answer that question, there's a lot of options in what you can take within like the honors curriculum.
Awesome. And just as a follow-up, there's a question about, does joining the program limit how many fun or elective classes you can take? And I think we've somewhat answered that before. Yeah, I see some heads shaking, not at all. So that's great. If anybody wants to elaborate, go for it. If not, I will turn it over to Will.
All right. Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
Kira,
I
you
couldn't
go.
find my unmute button. Someone just added asking if it has to be connected to your major. No, honors classes are a great opportunity to take things outside of your major and try something new that's interesting to you. Um, it's also a great place to discover if you're unsure. I went undecided for a semester and just took a bunch of honors designations to try to figure out what I was feeling excited about. And it was just a great opportunity to work on my honors program requirements, discover a little bit more, explore, and I think, yeah, you can take it in whatever you want.
Thanks, Kira. Our next question up here is, how does being in the honors program affect the course load? This is again kind of addressing like, are there additional work classes needed to take in a semester?
I would say that there's not necessarily more classes. It's just a wider range of classes that you can take. There are like obviously like the honors colloquium that are necessary, but they're very interesting topics. And I would say that honors really just expands what you can actually look into. And I'm a dual degree, so it's really given me the opportunity to explore two of my passions at the same time that I wouldn't be able to pursue if not for the extra opportunity to take classes. So really, it adds more if you need it, but it doesn't make it a harder workload necessarily, unless you want an extra challenge, which then it gives you a perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah. So to speak to this a little bit more directly, for the vast majority of majors across campus, honors does not add any additional requirements beyond a major requirement and your core requirements that you would be taking as a Gonzaga student. There are a couple of cases in the School of Engineering where we might end up adding a single 3 credit course to that requirement. But generally speaking, the number of classes that you would take as an honor student is identical to the number of classes you would take if you were just going through a major and a core. Um, Speaking to the fun classes and the elective classes, again, that because honors doesn't add to your overall course load, you have this exact same opportunity to take those elective classes. If you're really looking for something fun and your course load is already really full, being able to avoid that extra credit fee can be a way to take a class for fun. I know a number of students who have, for example, taken a ceramics class in addition to a full course load because they wanted to explore that kind of creativity. And it's nice to not have to pay that extra fee for that.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about the percentage of the population that's accepted and what percentage of our population are members of the honors program. But I also think there's probably a question behind the acceptance percentage of those who apply for the honors program and the numbers of students who are in it again.
Teresa, do you want to take those numbers?
Yeah, so last year we had almost 500 students enroll. Sorry, not enroll. That's not right. We had almost
That would be too
500.
many.
That would be too many. We had almost 500 students apply for the honors program last year. We typically aim to enroll about 80 to 85 students. Last year we had a slightly bigger class, just a little bit over 90 students enrolled last year. And so that means we are going to extend more offers than that. But typically, what we've seen kind of the trend over the past several years is that most students who are admitted into the honors program tend to choose to participate in the honors program. Um, so that gives you a little bit of information about kind of the interest that we're seeing and the offers that we're making.
The honors program, obviously it changes every year, but we're usually around 7 to 8% of the undergraduate population, which is, I think, a sort of nice percentage so that we are a robust program. We can really have an impact, elevating the level of conversation in any given honors class or across campus. We can be visible, but at the same time, it does still feel like you get to know everyone in your cohort. You get a real sense of community. There's something distinctive about being an honors student on the Gonzaga campus.
So we have kind of a series of questions here relating to housing. So I'm going to kind of group them together, and then folks can speak to them sort of, as they feel connected to it. The first one is just how many freshman honors students choose to live in honors housing. And then we also have like, are honors students separated from the rest of the community by living together, doing all the team building, or are they still very connected with non-honors programs and students? Um, Emily, thank you. I see you gave an awesome answer to another one kind of about housing. Um, yeah, so if you guys could speak to how does the honors program look during the semester? How many of the honor students choose to live in the housing? And yeah, does living in the community separate you, or are you still connected?
I'd be willing to talk about that first a little bit. And I'm gonna call out a couple of students, like Elise is gonna testify that her roommate right now is not from honors. So to answer that question, we have friends outside of honors, absolutely. So I am the faculty in residence for Dillon Hall, and the students, the honor students, were living here. They have now upgraded, I guess I would say, to Coglin, also known as Hotel Coglin. Um, and the gist of it is that more students applied to be in the Honors LLC than actually they were able to fit in. So people want to be there. The good thing is that all the LLCs are in Coglin, so even if you don't get into the honors one, you could be in the STEM LLC or in any of the other LLCs, and you would be in the same building, and you can still be part of the community and everything. And we're trying to make the LLC a little bit bigger this year, so hopefully everyone that wants in will get in. That floor that the Honors LLC is on currently this year, we're actually paired up with another LLC. So even though you're living amongst all the honors people, you're also living amongst another LLC. And so there's different ones. There's one that's Creative Expressions, and they're really fun. And we did an event together this year where we broke some geodes together, and so it was the Honors LLC and the Creative Expressions, and a lot of fun. I think I'll let maybe see if some of the students want to talk a little bit more to that.
I can talk a little bit to that one. I actually, like Hayes said, my roommate is not in honors, and I met her at orientation, and we hit it off instantly. And I think that Gonzaga really just provides like the opportunities for you to meet all sorts of people, like in your classes. Like I've met lots of people through my music programs and just extracurriculars, and sort of the holistic way that schooling is approached here really gives you the opportunity to meet people outside of honors while still being able to have all of your honors people and the people you know from there, because a lot of my other suite mates right now are in honors, but I've been lucky enough to meet wonderful people both not in honors and in honors.
Yeah, I would love to second that. Two of my closest friends that I met freshman year, one was in honors, one was outside of honors. So I don't think that I also did not live in the honors housing, but I still felt like I was able to connect with my peers in the honors program and still be involved with the people outside. So I think a lot of it just comes down to how involved you get with the community around you, whether that's like clubs, other like programs, etc. But I don't think in any way not living in the honors housing cuts you off from your community, nor does living in the honors housing cut you off from the rest of Gonzaga.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. There's a question about upon graduation, do you see any significant difference with honor students' opportunities with regard to job prospects?
That is a great question, and I'm going to take that one because I've been working with our wonderful career and professional services on campus to track what they call first destination, which is sort of the first place that graduates from Gonzaga land, and trying to answer that exact question, like what are the benefits of honors once you have graduated? And in the truth of the matter is, there is a noticeable difference. We do have a higher percentage of students going on to graduate school, making that choice. We also have a slightly higher percentage of students going on to choose a 1 or 2 year service opportunity, whether that's something like the Jesuit or the Peace Corps, Jesuit volunteer program, Teach for America, something along those lines. As I mentioned, we also have a lot of students who their first destination is a job that they got through some other aspect of Gonzaga. We have some fantastic sort of career treks to different cities that help students get connected with employers. We have a lot of employers coming to campus for the career fair. And I think, as I said, honors is really good at helping shape how you present yourself, how you are able to talk about your passions, but also your experiences. It gives you some really concrete examples of things that you've done that can help you with that job interview process, as well as connecting you often with professionals around the Spokane area. The last thing I want to say is that in terms of sort of that first destination, obviously we have a lot of honors students who are interested in being pre-health in some way. One of the things that we have done for the honors program is really look at the American Medical School recommendations for the core competencies for future doctors and thought intentionally about how honors can provide exactly the kind of experiences that helps you build and sell or talk about those core competencies. And I'm really proud that in the at this point I think 20 years that we have been tracking honors graduates, we have a 97% success rate of students who have graduated from Gonzaga with honors and then applied to med school within the first year, getting into med school within 12 months.
I think we have time for about one more question. Carrie, I think you're right. This is a good one. So there's a question here about can you apply in later years? So let's say you apply as a senior in high school, you don't get into the honors program, but you want to try again later. Can you apply to the honors program later down the road?
You want to take that one, Hayes?
Sure. Um, I also wanted to say, I see the other two questions and email and ask about the study abroad. We want you to study abroad. You will be able to study abroad. Just because I saw those other two questions. But can you apply? Absolutely. There is a process for applying later. We accept, like we talked about, 80, 85, 90 students during going from high school to your first year. Then we later bring in about 5 to 10 students that go from freshman to sophomore year. So it's a lot smaller class. The experience is still a great experience, but you missed out on 25% of your honors experience. That's one less time that you get to go to the lake day, things like that. You're not getting to live in the honors LLC your first year. So I always encourage students just for the experience, apply early. If for some reason you don't get in and you still want to play, you should definitely do it to play it to get in as a sophomore.
Thank you so much. And I know we're just a few minutes after 7 p.m. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Those were awesome questions. I'm so glad you sent all of those in the chat. We are, if you have any questions that we weren't able to get to tonight, or if you think of any questions after we log off tonight, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out. And then I know that our honors faculty are also happy to meet with students either in person or virtually. You can use the QR code to schedule a visit. We'll also put a link in the chat. And like I said, you'll have options to come in person or virtually. And I'm going to put my email address in the chat for you as well. And with that, I think we're going to say good night and sign off. But again, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our students and our faculty. Thank you to Carrie and Will. It's been a great evening, and have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Go Zags!
Bye, thank you. Whatever.